The following program features a series of exclusive interviews with some of the world's foremost financial analysts and economists. What they say about today's uncertain economic times and how to protect, preserve, and even increase your wealth may quite possibly change the way you look at your investments and your future.
Markets are screaming at us right now. We don't know where to go. We don't know what's safe. We don't know what the long-term trends are.
There's an inflation in prices coming down the road that very few expect and nobody will be able to explain. That will take everyone by surprise.
We have the oil price at an all-time record high. The commodity price is at a 24-year high. These things are all telling us something.
That volatility in all these markets is really for those that are paying attention, saying, look, you got to wake up, you've got to put some money in the metals, and you've got to be aware going forward politically and economically that we are in uncharted waters and you better protect yourself.
The last two generations are the only two generations in American history that have never seen hard times. People don't realize that. And what's worrying to me is that when they see hard times, it's going to be very hard.
So U.S. people, whether they're earning now or particularly if they're retired or looking ahead to retirement, I mean, in my view, they've got to hedge against that dollar. They've got to hedge. And there's essentially two ways to hedge. One is in currencies and one is in gold. There's really no other way.
This time around, gold is not just going through the roof, it's going to the moon.
Gold will rise. And I've told you exactly when and how and why. And the value that it will be looking for right now is above $1,650 an ounce and rising.
Monex, America's trusted name in precious metals for more than 30 years, presents Why Gold? Why Now? And now, here's your host, Roz Gentle.
Welcome to this special report. For this program, we conducted a series of exclusive interviews with some of the world's most respected financial analysts and economists. Our guests spoke with urgency about what they clearly see as warning signs on the horizon for both the U.S. and world economies, and the need for families to protect their wealth with gold. On this program, you'll learn how Monex offers several convenient ways that you can own gold, including the popular Atlas account, so that you may take advantage of the current profit opportunities in gold. Now let's meet our guests. From Sharon, Connecticut, Mr. James Sinclair, one of the foremost authorities in the world on international currencies, gold, and the global economy. From La Jolla, California, Mr. Richard Russell, for more than 30 years editor and publisher of the highly acclaimed Dow Theory Letters. From Franklin, Tennessee, best-selling author and two-time presidential candidate Harry Browne. From Phoenix, Arizona, international speculator and New York Times best-selling author Doug Casey. From the Great Northwest, noted economist and precious metals expert David Morgan. From Newport Beach, California, Michael Carabini, executive director of the Monex Deposit Company, one of America's preeminent precious metals firms. We'll also be talking to renowned global financial analyst Adrian Day, author and economist James Turk, and from Costa Rica, Pamela and Marianne Aden, co-founders of the highly respected Aden Forecast. These guests and more will be featured on Gold for wealth protection and profit potential. Now let's introduce you to the financial reporter who interviewed each of our guests, Walter Birch.
Roz, it's interesting to note that all of the analysts we interviewed for this special report reflected a growing concern that our economic system is indeed headed for some very turbulent times. In fact, they compared the danger facing the U.S. economy and the dollar to the Titanic approaching an iceberg. Now, the good news, they said there are ways for individuals and their families to not only protect their wealth, but also profit in these uncertain times.
Before we begin our interviews, I have an important question for you. If I were to offer you $50,000 in cash or $50,000 in gold, and you couldn't cash it in for 5 years, which would you choose? More and more financial analysts say the clear answer is gold. And now in our program, we take you through a series of key historical events and current economic factors that clearly spell out why.